On the afternoon of August 16, 1977, the world was shaken by the news of Elvis Presley's sudden death. The king of rock and roll was found unresponsive in the bathroom of his beloved Graceland mansion in Memphis, Tennessee. He was pronounced dead at 3:30 p.m., just 42 years old. His passing marked the end of an era, leaving fans and loved ones in shock and mourning. But what were Elvis's final words, and what were his last wishes? The story of his final days reveals a man grappling with personal struggles, health issues, and a deep longing for redemption. 2 days before his death, Elvis had a poignant conversation with his stepbrother David E. Stanley. The two were playfully sparring with karate blades when Stanley accidentally cut his finger, leading to a blood blister. Elvis, ever the caretaker, immediately dropped the knives and tended to Stanley's injury. As they stood in front of a large bathroom mirror, Elvis's mood shifted from playful to reflective. In a quiet, vulnerable moment, Elvis asked Stanley a profound question. Do you believe God forgives people for their sins? This wasn't the first time the topic had come up between them. Over nearly 17 years, the two had discussed faith, forgiveness, and redemption. But this time, Elvis seemed to be searching for reassurance. Stanley, sensing the gravity of the moment, replied,
Well, yeah, we've talked about this for almost 17 years. Elvis.
The conversation then turned to love. Elvis hinted that he had experienced true love twice in his life, but didn't reveal the identities of those women. He teased Stanley, saying, You'll find out soon enough. Before parting ways, Elvis expressed his intention to read his Bible and told Stanley, Okay, I love you. These would be the last words Stanley ever heard from his stepbrother. Reflecting on that final conversation, Stanley later admitted, I wish I had gone back. Little did he know that Elvis would pass away just 2 days later, leaving those words as a haunting reminder of their bond. Elvis Presley's relationship with faith was complex and deeply personal. Despite his fame and the controversies that surrounded him, Elvis maintained a strong spiritual connection throughout his life. He was a devout reader of the Bible, often highlighting passages and taking notes. According to Stanley, Elvis would sing gospel songs for hours after his performances, finding solace in the music that had shaped his early years. Stanley, who worked as Elvis's assistant for over 2 years, was tasked with ensuring that Elvis's Bible was transported to every location they visited. This responsibility underscored the importance of faith in Elvis's life. Stanley described Elvis as a man constantly torn between the devil on one shoulder and God on the other, a metaphor for the internal struggles he faced. By the mid-1970s, Elvis's health was in steep decline. Years of grueling touring schedules, combined with his reliance on prescription medications, had taken a toll on his body. He struggled with weight gain, chronic pain, and insomnia, often relying on a cocktail of drugs to get through the day. In 1973, Elvis's marriage to Priscilla Presley ended, adding to his emotional turmoil. That same year, he suffered a near-fatal barbiturate overdose, which left him in a coma for 3 days. Despite these warning signs, Elvis continued to push himself, driven by a sense of duty to his fans. Tony Brown, a keyboardist who worked with Elvis, recalled a particularly distressing performance in 1974. Elvis stumbled out of a limousine, visibly unwell, and struggled to get through the show. Guitarist John Wilkinson described the scene as heartbreaking, saying, It was obvious there was something terribly wrong with his body. He could barely get through the introductions. I remember crying. On the night of August 15, 1977, Elvis was restless. He confided in his fiancée, Ginger Alden, that he was going to the bathroom to read. I'm going to the bathroom to read, he told her. Alden, half asleep, responded, Okay, but don't fall asleep. Elvis assured her, Okay, I won't, before disappearing into the bathroom. Those were his last words. Hours later, Alden woke up to find Elvis still in the bathroom. When she opened the door, she discovered him slumped on the floor, lifeless. In her memoir, Elvis and Ginger. Alden described the harrowing moment. Elvis looked as if his entire body had completely frozen in a seated position while using the toilet and then had fallen forward in that fixed position, directly in front of it. Despite attempts to revive him, Elvis was pronounced dead at Baptist Memorial Hospital. The autopsy revealed a grim picture of his health: an enlarged heart, advanced cardiovascular disease, and emphysema, despite his lifelong avoidance of smoking. The cause of death was officially listed as cardiac arrhythmia, exacerbated by his extensive use of prescription drugs. Elvis's death sparked widespread speculation and controversy. His personal physician, Dr. Nick Mitropoulos, came under scrutiny for prescribing Elvis an astonishing 19,000 pills in the months leading up to his death. Dr. Nick defended his actions, claiming that Elvis had threatened to seek drugs elsewhere if they weren't prescribed. In 1980, Dr. Nick's medical license was suspended for 3 months, and in 1995, it was permanently revoked. The circumstances of Elvis's death remain shrouded in mystery, with some arguing that the official cause of death was a cover-up to protect his legacy. In his final days, Elvis was planning a significant shift in his life. He confided in Stanley his intention to fire his longtime manager, Colonel Tom Parker, who had allegedly embezzled millions from him over the years. Elvis also urged Stanley to leave his job as an assistant jet mechanic and return to work for him. These plans hinted at a desire for renewal and redemption. Elvis wanted to take control of his life and career, free from the influence of those who had exploited him.
Tragically, he never got the chance to see these changes through.
Elvis Presley's death marked the end of an era, but his legacy lives on. His music continues to inspire generations, and his story serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of fame and addiction. Despite his struggles, Elvis remains an enduring symbol of talent, charisma, and the transformative power of music. As fans reflect on his life and final days, they are reminded of the man behind the legend, a man who sought forgiveness, longed for love, and dreamed of a better future. Elvis Presley may have left the building, but his impact on the world will never fade.